Let's go! Let's go! Let's go! Peak of the game 7 tonight. Let's go.
Easy now. They're still playing.
It's been a long day, man.
I feel like a Maple Leafs fan.
We don't know what that feels like, bro. We have no idea.
We're starting to feel like it now.
Don't lower yourself to that. No.
I gotta pop this out here.
Hey, I didn't say Rangers fan. Okay.
That's
all right. Let's see.
What is up? Chat is popping. Everybody's
Chat
here.
is
What's going on?
popping.
Hey, all right, it's big time.
How's it going,
Holy
Queen? What's up, Titus, Lucas, Camacho, Utopian Tacos? How's it going?
Utopian tacos.
Yes.
Utopian
That
Tacos.
Sounds just like a nice chill day where you're sitting at a picnic table and you're just having a taco. Like
all day, dude. What are you doing wrong? Nothing. Utopia.
Corona and tacos.
Oh, I can go for a nice Corona on a hot day. Gesundheit.
Titus.
You okay, Ice?
Sweet, dude.
Yeah, I had a sneeze.
We heard.
Sneezy poo.
Oh, I make different noises when I sneeze. But
You know what a good noise to make when you sneeze on the show is the mute button.
That's interesting. That was fun.
I forgot to send the tweet. Hold up.
That's my bad. I was sending a tweet.
There we go.
That's
We're
my
untweeted right now.
bad. We're untweeted.
We're untweeted right now.
Oh, my bad.
That was my bad. I was sending a tweet.
All right. How's it going, everybody? Welcome to another edition of the Dudes and Belts. Actually, what am I doing? Why is it red? There we go. Welcome to a special edition of the Dudes and Belts Recharge post show here on Twitch. I am your Twitch. God damn it. YouTube. YouTube.
Start over. Wait, take two. Take two.
I
Let's
said
start
it
over.
for 2 years, and now it's embedded in me, man. I don't know.
We score.
You.
Ooh. Crossbar.
Crossbar? Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I
We're
know
loving a crossbar.
I know it's not a syllable, Johnny.
Ref
but-
Alice. I have a fellow zebra in the chat. What's up, Alice? Thank you for joining in.
How's it going, everybody? Welcome to another edition of the Dudes and Belts Recharge post show here on YouTube.
Yeah!
Yeah, there we go.
YouTube.
I am your host, Johnny
YouTube.
Deathdrop, as always, and man, we got a special recharge for you this evening. Before we get into everything, let's introduce the panel for tonight, which I believe for the first time in months, and I'm talking months, we have a stacked, packed house here this evening on the Dudes and Belts. Let's run through the intros. On the top left, we have the one that lives way up there on the east coast of Maine. You'll see him all week long on Recharge and Reignited as well. The one and only Coastal Crusader.
Good evening, everyone. Happy Sunday. And there was a lot of stuff to talk about, and there's a lot of great matches that happened at Peak of the Pack. And I'll tell you, I got some questions for Dean, El Presidente.
Oh boy, here we go. On the top right, you see him exclusively on Reignited. He is our resident masshole himself, the one and only Marky Pins.
That's right. I am the masshole, and welcome to our review of Peak of the Pack. It is a big night around here. There was so much action going on at the Peak of the Pack tournament. We have a number one contender or two. We have a lot to get to tonight. There's some controversy going around right here. We got to address a whole lot of what's going on right here on Dudes and Belts.
On the bottom left, you see him on the Rocky Mountain Rewind, and on Sundays altogether, he is the one and only Sunday Night Savior, the other Jeff.
What's up, guys? Like they said, Peak of the Pack was awesome. Can't wait to get into it. I might be slightly distracted until this Bruins game is over.
Go Beast.
Yeah, got that on the other screen just to be sure. Only 2 minutes left in the game. The Bruins are up. But yeah, so but Peak of the Pack was Bruins. Yeah, they were up 3-2. I told you last night got the goal to go ahead.
I missed the go-ahead goal.
But
You didn't hear us going nuts in the Discord?
Might have been when I was code yellowing.
Okay.
Empty net for the Panthers with minute 42 left. Let's get it, boys.
Yes.
But yeah. But Peak of the Pack was awesome.
And
It's a big night over here in the Northeast for us. I know in the Denver area they have a pretty big night later on this evening too.
Yes.
Seattle Kraken, but we got some other stuff.
They need to beat the Kraken so we can have Lance Boston Stanley Cup Finals.
Fine with that.
Yep.
And on the bottom right, for the first time in a long time, and he will be on time from now until the fall. He is the one and only inspirational one, also on Sundays. He is Triple I.
Damn straight I am. Damn straight I am. Giant G squared. Coastal, say if you're booing for someone that cares. What it comes down to is this: I'm very uninspired right now because my favorite D lost his championship. I'm not happy about it. We will discuss it later in the show.
Spoiler alert.
Everyone already watched the pay-per-view. It's
Not
okay.
all. We don't know that everybody did.
But we're about, well, too bad. We will discuss this in a few moments.
Triple I's upset.
Yeah. I don't get upset about my favorite D too often, but we will discuss it in a few minutes.
Oh, boy. We're going to forget that he even said that. I know it was a heartbreaking loss for Remy D, of course, and I can see Triple I taking it to heart.
Yeah, actually, my hang on. I'm watering up.
The man is moved.
Very.
The man is moved.
Should we have a moment of silence?
It was over 300.
It
days,
was
308-day reign.
It was.
So close to milestone type of run. It was a fantastic Charge Championship run for MED. Beat almost everybody on the roster, and it took somebody like a CBD to make.
Well, one could say CBD did not beat Remy.
I said he made him lose his mind. They made him.
He beat him mentally.
About him. He did.
We have royalty in chat, gentlemen.
Yes, we do.
Lord Mitchell Taylor.
Lordship.
Where's your friend Derek?
Nope.
Is Derek there with you?
Oh, I love Derek. I love Derek.
He's running as fast as
He's
he
another one
can
of my
away
favorite
from
Ds.
What did you
Derek's
say?
running in
What did
circles
you
in the
say?
bathroom
Oh,
somewhere.
yeah, hold up. What did you say?
Oh, no!
No.
They scored.
Minute left. Tie of the game.
And just like that, the show went to hell.
No, because I still imagine Derek Stone running around in a circle in a bathroom somewhere in the same 5-foot radius circle, thinking he's getting somewhere, trying to hatch his eggs in Pokemon Go or something. It's in a straight line. You need distance.
With his pink robe.
Probably.
Yeah.
But either way, you can't hatch eggs walking in a circle.
Mm-hmm.
All right, boys, we're going to get through this show, right?
Okay.
No.
Yeah.
Hope so.
Yeah.
And it depends on how overtime goes.
We might be done with the show and still watching overtime.
I don't know about that. All right. In case you haven't noticed, ladies and gentlemen, we will be talking about what happened last Friday on Peak of the Pack during that pay-per-view. If you guys haven't seen the pay-per-view, you got to be a Tier 2 member at $9.99.
$9.99. $9.99.
Which is cheaper than it was on Fite.
It was much cheaper than it was on Fite. I think about $3 or $4 cheaper.
Mm-hmm.
And on top of that, with that Tier 2 subscription, you get every pay-per-view year-round. And you don't have to keep on pre-ordering and all that stuff, too. Once you just have that membership and you just re-up it every month, you are golden for the rest of the year.
Oh, in Canada, it's a little more
Things are
expensive.
different
Yep.
up north. Yes,
It's
things are
true.
very
It's
different.
$14.99. You are right, Game Buddy.
Currency works a little different in
But
Canada.
if you have a
Money's a-
VPN, I won't get into that. Tune into how to
Ah,
hack things later.
All right, boys. I know you guys are heavily preoccupied on what's going on in Game 7 here. Trust me, I would be too, but my TV's behind me and I can't put it on because of copyright reasons on YouTube. So,
these are things.
these are things.
Yep.
So let's break down Peak of the Pack. I'm sure everybody here is waiting for us to talk about the Peak of the Pack and not just the Bruins, even though we're going through a tizzy over here. So let's get right down into it. We're going to be talking about the main card specifically this evening. And starting off, Peak of the Pack, we had your Lockett's Championship match between Lola the Adventurer and JC of the Asylum. Who would like to start this one off?
I'll start just Oh, go ahead.
I was gonna say, I'll go. It's, I mean, we've seen Lola get chances before, and I think this was one of her better outputs. There were moments where I thought it was over. Obviously, she has the law firm right there to help her out, but I think that ended up costing her more than it helped her in the end, because I think it caused more of a distraction for her as well. But she put on a hell of a match. But in the end, even with the help from the outside, JC was able to overcome. JC's proven that she can overcome a lot, and that was without help from the Asylum. Really, in this match, I mean, there wasn't any other shenanigans going on her side. I mean, we didn't have our eyes on Salem Wolf the whole time. We didn't know if he was doing something on the outside. But I mean, JC's gonna be tough to beat. It looks like she's probably, unless something happens from now until Milestone, she's gonna be going into Milestone as the champion, and we'll discuss later about who it looks like her opponent's gonna be. But yeah, JC looks strong, but take nothing away from Lola. Lola put on a hell of a match, took over in many situations. You know, had control for, I would say, maybe more than 50% of the match, and put on a hell of a match. Who were you more impressed with, Maki? Do you think it was JC or do you think it was Lola?
They both had moments in this match. Lola does a good job lately of turning up that aggression factor, and she has to against JC. And there's been a few big impact moves. JC's just a bigger, more physical competitor, holding Lola down more often than not. But Lola's coming up with these moves that are gaining space. She did a good job at keeping space for a while in this match. She had a nice jawbreaker in Zagori combo. She had many times where she could get away and then come running in with some impact. And once she got JC once Preston got JC reeling early with a big trip in the corner, and JC goes flat out, Lola is able to take over for a while, but JC's so strong coming back. The law office does play a big part in this. And for the most part, you were right, Sunday, that Salem really didn't do much on the outside. It was mostly jarring with Koyama and Preston himself on the outside. But those little, like, weenies from JK Pop cannot keep their nose out of anybody else's business, boys. Coastal, we seen it at the end of the match. We seen it during the match. That weenie himself, the head weenie in charge, Casanova, coming in and running defense and chasing JC all around the ring. This guy's a knucklehead getting himself involved in a luck.
You know, he is a knucklehead, but for once, I was not opposed to them being out there and doing these shenanigans, because we've seen Salem do his share of shenanigans in the past. And the reason we didn't see Salem do too much tonight, or Friday night, I believe, is because they were out there. So, hey, you know what? Kudos to the law office for kind of evening up, and I think it helped Lola get that big match, because she was really good in this match. I thought it was over with the backpack sleeper. Then I thought the X marks the spot DDT. It was done. What an incredible offensive output for her. But it's what we've come to expect from JC, even without the Asylum, is she is damn near untouchable. It's going to take a special kind of aggression, some that we may see later on, to stand toe-to-toe with JC. And Lola just unfortunately doesn't have that aggression needed.
You know, I want to go off of what Marky had said. You know, like I think the question was asked to Marky, like who impressed you the most, who stood out the most. I think they both stood out in their own right. Let me really quickly with JC, her resume speaks for itself. We all know that. Everyone in the chat knows that, and she won the match. She retained her Lockouts championship. Gentlemen, this was essentially a 4-on-1 handicap match, if you think about it. It was a 4-on-1 handicap match, and she also had Salem Wolf out there essentially doing little to nothing to help her out. And she still persevered and won the match and retained her championship. And she didn't really pull in. On top of that, she didn't pull any shenanigans to win the match. She won the match clean. So give kudos where kudos is due, you know, especially with all the players that were involved here. As far as Lola goes, I give, you know, despite the shenanigans with the law office and things of that nature, I give her kudos as well, because, gentlemen, in the beginning of the match, JC had targeted Lola's neck, viciously targeted her neck. Great strategy, by the way. But if your neck essentially is being destroyed, you can't do anything really. I've had neck problems myself. I can't turn. I can't move my body. I can't do anything. For Lola to overcome that and then persevere and nearly win the match as well, shenanigans or not, really tells you something about her resilience. So really, JC won the match, but they both proved something tonight, in my opinion.
Oh, Preston's miracle. Do we have to address? He can walk, dudes. It was a ruse. It was a ploy, a plot, a plan,
Shocker.
a menagerie from the very beginning.
Surprise Pikachu face.
Yeah. This is my surprise face.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hasn't he jumped out of the wheelchair and then miraculously just fallen back into it? Don't trust
Yeah, he's
that
done
guy.
that a couple times.
I don't trust that guy.
What I'm surprised is he didn't wait till like the middle of the match to do it. You know what I mean? Like keep it going. But
Well, he had to show off his poo shirt. He had a power of orange. It said he had to show off his poo. So
there's a lot of poo going on there.
so he's full of poo.
So JC retains. Oh, by the way, if you haven't watched the pay-per-view and you are going to watch it, you might not want to watch this show. Because right now, JC...
Warning, spoilers.
JC is still your reigning Locust champion going into Milestone. All right. Before we continue on, I know I forgot to bring this up. If you guys haven't already on YouTube, smash that like button. Leave a comment on the VOD when the show is over. And make sure you subscribe to Rocky Mountain Pro so you don't miss any Dudes and Belts content or Charger Ignition episode throughout the week. And those notifications work. Trust me, I got a notification about 5 seconds after I went live. So they work.
Bell.
And Foods and Belts content.
I said Dudes and Belts content.
Foods and
Oh,
Belts.
Foods and Belts content. Yes, on Sundays. Correct.
We go there.
We do go there.
I had Five Guys a few hours ago.
That's different.
That's
than Foods and
different.
Belts.
Yes, it's very different, sir.
That's fast food and belts.
All right. Next matchup here. Eyes, I think we're going to have you lead this one because it seems like you are the one that's been a little bit more distraught than the other guys. Yes. Take a deep breath, bud. Hang in there.
He hadn't been right since he got in the Discord, folks.
No,
Even
he
before
hasn't
we went
been,
live,
yeah.
He hadn't been right about it.
I mean,
Carson Drake versus Remy D for your Charge Championship.
I thought I was sad when the Florida Panthers tied it up with 1 minute to go left in the game in Game 7, but that pales in comparison to what happened in this match with my favorite D, which I'm about to go over right now. So please bear with me. So when it comes to, so this is for your Charge Championship. First of all, let's highlight some of the positives here, guys. My Remy D coming out with a strong hat game. I loved it. And right away, I'm excited and I'm dancing in my chair and I'm moving all about. Oh my God, it was great. I'll take videos next time.
Please don't. Thank you.
Oh, okay. Well, some people may like that. Okay. Just saying.
We don't. So.
Well, you guys
He
don't.
wants to see that.
Well, people like to see me dance. I'm a good dancer. So
We don't have a Patreon page yet. Wait till we get a Patreon page.
Yeah.
Stuff like that.
So
That deserves to be on the paywall.
So we know what happened.
It has to be.
We know what happens here, but I just want to start from the beginning here. CBD, despite with what happened, he was actually pretty smart about this. If you guys, everyone saw this, but he actually began the match by slapping Remy D in the face. And the reason why that's very important is because right away it angers Remy and it gets him already riled up really before the match even gets going. So he's already pissed off to begin with. So he just has some pent up rage. He just wants to just basically take it out in CBD. So that basically sets him off right there and then. After some back and forth offense between the two, the CBD in his second thing to piss him off, he basically camouflages the ref. He shields the ref. And while he does that, he low blows Remy. So that's the second thing that he does to Remy to basically piss him off and get under his skin and get him going. So eventually Remy he comes back, takes back over again. But a short time later, CBD goes for the trifecta. He goes for the trifecta, and he goes to hit Remy with his megaphone. Luckily, Remy ducks because you are not messing up that moneymaker at all. Not happening. But what did end up happening is Remy let his emotions get the best of himself. All right, a slap in the face, a low blow, and then an attempt with the megaphone to the face. Remy has had it, and at this point, he hits CBD with the megaphone himself, and this causes a DQ. And normally, gentlemen, you guys know that, all right, DQ, you lose the match, but you retain the championship. Unfortunately, under new rules, that is no longer the case. You lose the match, but you also lose the championship. Yeah. So because of the megaphone shot, Remy D and his 308-day reign as the charged champion is now gone. And we have a new charged champion, CBD. Say what you want about CBD and his shenanigans, and some will call it controversial and questionable, undoubtedly so, but he played by the rules to some extent, and he outsmarted Remy D, which I've never said that in my life. And he's now your charged champion, whether we like it or not. And I can't go any further because I'm gonna need therapy in a few seconds. So someone please take it away right now before I have a heart attack. God.
I'm sorry, bud. You just deep breaths and a mute button and take a sip of water. You'll be
fine.
Water.
Thank you. Water. Yeah.
Hit the mute button first.
Hit the mute button first. Jeez.
Oh
yeah. We saw it on Thursday night when he teamed up with Lord Mitchell Taylor. And I said it in that match, and I'll say it again. They worked well together because they both can put themselves, CBD and Lord Mitchell Taylor, they work well because they can put themselves between the referee and what's going on and get away with something. They manipulated the referee many times in that match, and CBD did it again tonight to get that mule kick right to the D and begin the kind of end of Remy D after, like Triple I said, the slap in the face, then the mule kick, and then introducing the megaphone into the match. I don't think Remy, he's very capable of fighting somebody like CBD, and we've seen CBD go many times here, boys, on Ignition and on other pay-per-views, and he's good. The kid can go, and he's got some smarts upstairs. You can tell that, like, he's a charged champion now for an absolute reason. There's confidence there, and he finds ways to win. But this was something different than Remy D had faced. He hadn't had somebody that had been this much of a thorn in the side. We've seen it on Ignition where they are charged, where CBD attacks Remy D while they're on commentary. He's doing everything he can to get inside Remy's head. And I think that was CBD's biggest asset in this match here, because Coastal, I don't know if this match goes regularly, if he can out-wrestle Remy D. At this point, we've seen Better try and fail to out-wrestle the Beauty and the Beast Remy D. I don't know if he could. You think this was like maybe his last resort type option to go to the tactic type things?
I don't think it was the last resort, but I think it was a good, solid plan B of plan A, which was trying to out-wrestle and outperform Remy D, which doesn't happen very often. I think this was an added bonus to what he was doing. Not only was he causing pain and frustration to Remy D, but it was also planting the seeds of, I don't know how much further he would have gone after the megaphone. I think there was some more stuff he was thinking about. I think it was just continue the frustration. I'll give CBD credit, man. The man's smart. He put this plan together. He picked out Remy D, and he went after what the only flaw that Remy has, which is that pride. You can only push Remy so far, we know, and then this happens. If the rules were different, Remy's still a champion, but CBD knew that. I call it the Belichick. You take every rule you can, bend it till it doesn't break or break it, and then use it to your advantage. And that's exactly what he did.
I mean, the CBD came into this match with a plan. He had a game plan on how he was going to get that charged title, and he executed it flawlessly. His whole plan was, because he, like Mikey, I believe he thought the same as you. He wasn't going to just square up and beat Remy D.
You're not going to out-fight, out-slug it out, out-wrestle Remy D. Right. Not at this point. He's too hot. He's kicking ass.
And Remy's got every part of the game. He can mat wrestle you. He can brawl you. He can use his athleticism. So what are you going to beat him in? So you got to beat him up here. And with these new rules that came in, just set off a chain of events that set CBD up to say let's try it this way, and it worked, and it got it done. I mean, I don't like the way he did it, but again, it was his plan the whole time, and Remy could have, if Remy saw what he was doing a little better, he may have been able to go, you know what, I'm not going to let him get in my head. But I think Remy just got too caught up in the moment and just got too angry, too frustrated, and let his emotions get the best of him.
And we've seen Remy lately be a little more aggressive, be a little more ornery, as from the Water Boy. What was his name there?
Farmer Fran.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah, he's a little extra ornery in a few of these matches that he's had, and it kind of boiled over. There's been a lot of frustration. I really think CBD's been messing with him for a while now, and he's getting sick and tired of people disrespect. We remember what happened with the Curtis Cole storyline that we had. That was pretty disgusting. And then CBD turned that down a little bit, but at the same time still was an absolute really sharp thorn in Remy D's side that eventually sprouted the rose that is now CBD's charge champion.
All right, I believe overtime has started, which means that these boys are going to be very much heavily on both shows right now.
I'm not watching it. I don't have the game on here.
I'm not allowed to, or we lose.
Yeah.
Boss Rums just became
Boss
a RMP pay-per-view membership supporter, I guess you could say. I need to rename that. Welcome. Thank you so much for your support. And now you get
the
all
VI pay-per-view tier. VI PPV tier.
Boss Drums, are we a fellow masshole? Is that a Boston play on a word there? Welcome.
Or if you're from Boston, you must be on the edge of your seat right now. All right. Going back to the peak of the pack, of course. Unfortunately, we are now going to have to call CBD the charge champion because he is your new champ after peak of the pack.
Yes.
I know.
So you got to see what the kid's got. He's good. He's young.
Let's see what happens. Remember.
I mean, I prefer THC myself over CBD, but at the same time,
hey, Kush, man.
If this is what we have to deal with, let's.
CBD stands for
eyes. Were you going to say something?
Last 10 seconds on this match, then we'll move on. I just want to say, just because you won the charge championship doesn't mean that you're a better charge champion than the former champion in Remy D.
I agreed. We got to see what the kid's got.
We need to remember this. He held that for 308 days, 309 days, so nearly a year. Do you know how hard it is? I mean, J.K. Pop knows.
Is that the longest in charge history? Just a quick question to anybody in chat that knows.
Lucas would have to know this one.
Yeah.
I think Damon went longer.
You think Damon went longer?
I think Damon was the charge champion a little longer than that.
Well, either way.
So CBD was the remedy to the charge championship.
If you think about it in a sad way, yes.
So once we get info on that, remember, folks, there is no rematches here at Rocky Mountain Pro 2, so Remy D would have to start from the bottom.
And I also had a long run.
Yeah.
Titus, I don't know if you want Remy D to see that comment or not. Maybe we can scrub that comment real quick. If Remy D jumps in and sees that, he's going to be a pissed off human.
Yeah, he may hit you with the megaphone as well.
All
Break
right.
the megaphone.
Moving on. We all know Gino and Nathan Estrada had their issues throughout the course of the past month and a half or so leading up to Peak of the Pack, but they seem before on charge that they've settled their differences, that they were ready for La Isla on Friday. Unfortunately for them, that did not work out. Gino and Nathan Estrada versus La Isla. I should say Gino Rivera and Nathan Estrada. They're not brothers. Versus La Isla.
No.
For the tag team championships.
Good, fast-paced match between these guys, huh?
Absolutely.
Oh, yeah.
That's what I thought. I mean, I was very, very surprised at how fluid that Gino and Nathan worked. I mean, they, a few times in this match, I was like, oh, okay, well, they're going to do what they said they were going to do on Thursday. I mean, Gino Rivera was right. They were on the same page.
Wow.
I don't know what he said to Nathan Estrada to get him on that page, but it damn near worked. And I kind of hope they're not done tagging together. They came out on the losing end tonight, but it certainly wasn't from lack of trying. They have just run into a team that is just basically one person wrestling as two. They finish each other's sentences. They're finishing each other's moves. There's a reason they beat JK Pop, who is, for all intents and purposes, the greatest tag team champions in the company's history. And La Isla beat them to get those titles. There's a reason that happened, but it almost came crashing down tonight Friday night, because Gino Rivera came on point. He was on it from the very beginning, playing the mind games as well as bringing the hurt to people. And Nathan Estrada, one misplaced kick, buddy. That's all it was. But I have this horrible feeling, guys. Marky, maybe you can back me up on this. I don't think Gino's going to give him a second chance. Gino doesn't give second chances to people who kick him in the mush.
Or at least it doesn't look like it.
No, Gino seems to think that a lot of this planet revolves around him at this moment in time. And it was honestly amazing that he even kind of turned his feelings about Nathan Estrada around and actually accepted him as a tag. Basically, because he kind of had to. This is how you're going to potentially go win tag team gold. You have to coexist with this guy. And Gino shows some XP and does that. And they were very cohesive. They had La Isla more than a couple times. I mean, it's very, very difficult to say that you had La Isla on their back, but there were more than a couple times. Gino Rivera comes in, gets a hot tag and a big arm drag and a drop kick over to Balaam Links and just moving. And then Estrada comes in with a big pancake. Gino hits the coup de grace, his own double foot stomp. These guys were working hard together, because you have to against La Isla, because La Isla works that hard just every single day, knowing each other. And with Gino and Nathan not really being that much on the same page, I thought they fought very, very well and valiantly, but this was La Isla's night. They capitalized on that misplaced super kick by Nathan Estrada right in Gino Rivera's mush face. It actually looked pretty sweet. I think it helped the face, to be honest. It was a big, big kick. Rivera goes down, and then we see the La Isla special. And it's just dominance from La Isla. Garrett, Sunday Night Savior, talk to me about La Isla right here and how just going forward, each match, each defense, they just keep getting stronger and stronger, whether they know you or not.
Yeah, if I'm an opponent trying to get against La Isla, I want them now. I don't want them to get this run going. It's just going to snowball. They're going to get the longer they hold them, the tougher they're going to be. You got to get them now. And I don't know who that could be. I don't even know who I would pick that could beat them right now, because Nathan and Gino had a really, really good shot at it. And for two guys to not exactly be on the same page, to come that close, shows how good those two guys really are. But if you're not on the same page, you're not going to beat these guys. There's no chance. So what Coastal said of they're basically one guy wrestling as two, it's true. You said they finish each other's sentences.
Probably that too.
Probably, yep.
They share. They cut it in half.
I bet Balaam can eat. He's one of those little dudes that I bet just eats.
I bet you. I bet you Echo can eat.
Echo can eat.
Echo
can eat. I can experience firsthand. Yep.
So I bet when they order sandwiches, they each order a different sandwich and then cut it in half and split them.
It's the only way to do it.
Variety, baby. Variety.
Yeah. But I mean, it's going to be extremely, extremely hard to beat La Isla at this point. And I don't pity the people having to face them. But I mean, Triple I, do you think there's anybody out there in RMP world that has a chance?
No, not right now. Not at all. But I do want to make one point, one counter to your point that you just made, Sunday. You mentioned how if I was a tag team vying for the RMP Tag Team Championships, I don't want to go against them now. I disagree. I'd want to go against them as later as I could because you get more film on them, you get more tape on them, you're able to study them more, you're able to analyze their moveset, analyze their chemistry, and analyze how they do things in the ring, how they could, you mentioned how they finish each other's sentences and finish each other's moves. So that synergy that you just that's just unwavered, and the only way you can perhaps try to get on that same wavelength is by studying and analyzing their matches. So I perhaps would want to wait longer so I can get that advantage. And the reason why I say the word advantage Sunday is because when you're against La Isla, you need every advantage you can take against that you can get against that team. And I'm not saying cheating, I'm not saying advantage, because they're that damn good. So like I'll give you a pointer. Like I'll give you an example Sunday. So somewhat early / middle of the match Sunday, and gentlemen, Estrada was in the match, was in for a good chunk of the match, right?
You just say Sunday and gentlemen. I'm sorry.
Yeah. Sunday and boys, Sunday and men, Sunday and dudes, same thing. It's all synonymous.
Gentlemen, I haven't been so insulted in months.
I was just gonna say.
Who the hell are you talking to?
I run a bowling alley, sir. I am no gentleman.
Okay,
Are you talking to Dad, like Mr. Coastal?
Sunday and assholes. That's better.
That's
I
better.
can say
All right.
I can say a lot.
There's a guy in Maine. What are you talking about?
I can say a lot of other creative stuff, but I won't think of the show.
All right, just continue. I don't know what was that about, but okay, go ahead.
So, as I was saying, an example to prove Sunday's point was earlier. Estrada was in the bulk of the match, but there was that one point where he was getting his ass kicked, but he actually fought back and hit a modified stunner on Balaam, and he went for the pin, which I appreciate, but he didn't have much on the pin, and because he's getting his butt kicked, he should have potentially tagged out at that moment and tagged in his partner who was fresh, and he could have continued the offense that Estrada had just about to begin, who was just about to begin on Balaam. So that's just an observation that I would make, when prepping for a tag team match against La Isla, But that's just an example of what I was referencing to earlier. But either way, great. It was a great match. I know they didn't have much chemistry, obviously, but they put on a good showing for what it was, and they almost had it. Mm-hmm. They did. They almost had it, and it's very hard to slow down Balaam and Echo. I forget who it was. I don't know if it was Dean or Lucas on commentary, but one of them said, "It doesn't matter which one you get in the ring. The pace never slows down."
No.
Echo, pick your poison, guys. Pick your freaking poison. You have to keep up. And if your stamina is not there, man, you're going to get eaten alive because they just go 110% every single time, no matter who's in.
Since La Isla's really been a thing and they've just established themselves as the tag team in RMP to beat right now, Balaam Lynx has very quickly become the best hot tag in the business, getting himself in there and clearing house and just finishing off matches and just getting things done. And then the tag team, the combination of the two of them, like whatever the La Isla special is tonight, whether it's the drop toe hold into the face buster into the knees, or if it's the rolling thunder and animality into the coup de grace, doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. They look so good.
They didn't even, the thing is, Marky, the animality wasn't even used in this match, and they still won.
No, it wasn't. Balaam Lynx did the rolling thunder leg drop, and then Echo hit the coup de grace to finish the match, the double foot stomp. Whatever it is, the two of them together, it's so
wasn't
impactful.
a leg drop.
The swanton, hit the swanton.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, the rolling. All right, my bad.
Yeah.
I wrote rolling. Taking too many notes when too many things are happening on the show. They're too fast.
That's how quick. That's what I mean, Marky. That's what I mean. They move so quick, you lose track of what's going on.
So fast.
I mean, you could be doing a coup de grace and then it's really a swanton because they're flying off the ropes, all seconds of the hour. So, I mean, what is going on,
I don't mean to be Debbie Downer, but there is one thing that we've talked about. They're always doing this, they're like one person. Well, JK Pop does something really well where they isolate people really, really well and cut that ring in half. That's the only way I see that you could beat La Isla. And JK Pop is great at it. You isolate the ring You keep one of them in there, you don't let the other one in, and you may have a chance.
Well, way to be a Debbie Downer, man.
That's actually a good point. That's a good point.
It is.
That's a very good point, Coastal.
And during this match, La Isla did a very good job of isolating Nathan Estrada early in the match, keeping him on their side. Going to that exact same school doesn't have to be a bunch of impact or a whole lot of things. Whether it's just Echo holding you in a headlock or in a hammerlock or something, you're trying to get to your guy. You're expending twice the amount of energy to make the tag and to try to get out of the hole. Meanwhile, Echo's just hanging on. And La Isla's just tagging in and out, keeping you over there, wearing you down.
So wouldn't you say, Marky, maybe it's safe to say, and maybe I'm wrong, but maybe whether they meant it or not, maybe La Isla took a page out of J.K. Pop's book, because that's what J.K. Pop does. So, and to go again, to reference my point earlier, La Isla was the last they were the only tag team to beat J.K. Pop for those belts, and who knows how many months. They had tons of film, tons of time to study and observe and analyze J.K. Pop's match, and that's one of the things they took from J.K. Pop's match to help them win, was that they isolate their opponent, and that's what that's what La Isla did in their match against Estrada and Rivera, and it worked. So that's why, again, I'd want to potentially go last or near last when challenging for the tag team championships for reasons like that.
Or you hire David Drake to kidnap one of them.
That's true. Yeah, of course, absolutely.
That's option B.
All right,
on how much money you have.
all right. I have a question in chat that I'm going to ask you guys, and then we're going to move on here. I'm Titus. Knowing tag team wrestling like I do, I know how I would stop Echo and Balaam, but Coastal and Sunday, you guys know tag team wrestling. How would you plan against them? I think we semi-touched on it during that conversation.
Yeah, isolation, and then and maybe a few cheap shots here and there leading up to the match.
Well, it depends on what type of team you have going against them. You know, a team like JK Pop, yeah, I think that exactly what Coastal said. Yeah, they're going to take some underhanded things and isolate and do all their tag team moves and all that. But if you had a couple bigger guys, because, you know, La Isla's not the biggest of guys. If you had a couple bigger guys, you just wear them out. Don't let it, ground them. Put them down. Don't let them get their high flying, fast pace. You control the pace of the match. You would have a chance at that point. Really?
Could beat them with Coastal and Sunday. Coastal and Sunday versus La Isla.
You want to become tag champs, Coastal?
As long as it's Titus and not triple.
Florida one.
Bump, bump, bump.
Well, that was the worst hockey season ever.
Yeah. Go Celtics.
Go Red Sox. Yeah.
The Red Sox aren't last. The Yankees are.
Well, there is a bright spot to today then.
Looks like you guys are Celtics fans from now on.
Oh.
Was anyways.
I can't imagine
Go
what
Lanch.
radio is going to be like tomorrow.
I'm not a Celtics fan.
Go Lanch.
It's Red Sox season now.
Go Colorado.
Johnny Deathdrop's a Heat fan.
Yeah, well, he's paying for our coffee, so that's okay.
Thank you for the 99-cent super chat, as always, Johnny Deathdrop. All right.
Go Avs.
My phone's already started blowing up from Canadian people yelling at me. Calvin.
I was going to say the king up there.
Yep.
There goes the air in the room. Yep.
So let's get back to this La Isla versus Sunday and Coastal idea.
I'm in now. Let's do it. I'd take a beating.
All right. Moving on here. Four corners match for the number one contendership of a champion, I'm assuming, of their choosing or the company's choosing or Dean's choosing. I don't know. It wasn't very specific. It was just a number one contendership match.
Right.
Between Sky Horseman, Manny Lemons, Craig Fairley, and Sin Bodie. Could have Celtics and Nuggets. Yeah, that's true.
Like our conversations, this match was absolutely all over the place and off the rails early with fast tags, just getting in and out. There's action all over the place. Sky Horseman, is extremely impressive against a guy like Craig Farrelly, who has that MMA background and who we've seen videos of actually going in and doing all the MMA moves, doing them legit. Sky Horseman keeping up with them. They pair off very, very well. Sky's been one of the biggest, to me, whether he's a knucklehead or not, because there's been plenty of knuckleheadery. All right.
Who he hangs out with.
He's hanged out with a few people of ill repute.
My grandmother always said you're known by the company you keep.
Them tactics have kind of rubbed into, his way of doing things, and now he's doing stuff like that. But you can't deny his ability, and he matches up very well against a Craig Verily. He does very well. Craig ends up getting up and hitting the Three Amigos, a variation of the Three Amigos on the Sky, which is really good. There's so much action going back and forth. We even saw Skylar Slice, the main squeeze, jump in and impose herself in this match and just kind of holding people out on the outside. There was just action everywhere in this match here, boys. And then Sin Bodhi gets in and makes stuff weird. And I love when Sin makes stuff weird, because Sin's the only guy I know that chokeslams himself as an offensive maneuver. Fantastic. The guy who's throwing that clothesline, it's just a perfect bump. It's a perfect clothesline, senton type thing. It's really amazing. Sin has this ability to just walk in and change dynamics of matches. Craig Farrelly, big spine busting and Manny Lemons. That was the appeal to me. I don't know if you guys, was there any to you fellas a one-on-one pairing that was unique enough to want to see it at a future date? To me, for some reason, it was Manny Lemons and it was Craig Farrelly. I know Manny Lemons has kind of done his own bit of knuckleheadery and stuff, but Craig Farrelly's just that guy, isn't he? You guys have an opinion? Can we stop this and talk about Craig for a couple minutes? Sunday, you've seen him. We've all seen him in person. We met him. Talk about Craig Farrelly.
I think Sunday is a big advocate for Craig Farrelly, if I'm not mistaken.
I think we all are.
I am.
Yeah.
I am. I want to see Craig Farrelly against anybody because he's that damn good. I want to see him against the big guys. I want to see him against the little guys. I want to see him against the veterans, the rookies, the weird. And we did see at the end of the match the show of respect from the Warlord of Weird to Craig Farrelly. But I mean, that guy, I don't think there's a thing he can't do. And like they said, I think it was Lucas during the match even said that he hasn't been doing this for very long. He looks like he's a 10-year veteran and he's like a 2-year veteran. You know what I mean? That speaks volumes to how good this dude is. And it's not just what you see in the ring. He's good on a microphone. He's good. He's got charisma coming out the wazoo. He just oozes what you need in this game. And it's only a matter of time before he's wearing some sort of RMP gold. Because whether it's the charged ignition, whatever, tag team or NRW, RMP, whatever, he's gonna get his hands on some of that gold at some point because he's that good. And I'm a big fan. I really thought he was gonna win this match, but obviously the veteran that is the Warlord of Weird took advantage of a spot and Coastal, you know a little bit about the Warlord of Weird. You want to?
I met him. Yep. I met the Warlord of Weird, and actually, when Marky asked this question, it was that was my thought. Is I'd love to see Craig Farrelly against Sin Bodhi 1-on-1, just because also the respect show at the end of the match, but just two very different styles of offense. A rookie, a veteran. We see the veteranness, the big XP bar come out tonight, like that big old mallet, the rubber mallet that Sin Bodhi probably uses on himself at home, I would have to imagine. God, I bet dinner's weird at Sin Bodhi's house.
Can you imagine Sunday family dinner?
Oh God! With Happy and Nine's cooking, it'd be weird. But we're gonna get to find out. Eyes, what do you think the celebration is like? Sin Bodhi now is the #1 contender for basically anything he wants.
I think he's gonna get even weirder now. I mean,
that's not possible.
You just want a 4 corners match at a pay-per-view, and now you're the #1 contender for any championship that you want. You're gonna get weirder. I get weirder if that happened to me. I mean, I didn't think it's possible either. But man, when great things happen to you, you find ways to get weirder. So that's what I think is gonna happen with Sin Bodhi here. the only thing is, Sin Bodhi is a veteran. We all know that this is a four corners match, and there was some other factors involved with 3 other opponents as opposed to one, and
a flask.
I was just going to say that the flask as well. The ref was distracted. There's not going to be any of that shenanigans, or there at least shouldn't be those shenanigans in a one-on-one match. So the landscape of the match is going to be different. So obviously Sin knows this. He's been wrestling forever, so he'll just have to prepare and plan accordingly. Obviously, I want to go back. I know Marky mentioned about Craig Fairley. I just want to add one bit to that if we can, because I'm also on the Craig Fairley train here. And Sunday had asked a few minutes ago, or it was Cole, so it was one of you guys, I can't remember. But he basically said, when we were talking about La Isla, who would you choose to challenge for La Isla's tag team championship? And I said, no one. I stand corrected, guys. One person I would choose is Craig Fairley. Craig Fairley, and we could debate on the second partner another time, but Craig Fairley would be at least one of those guys, because he can go toe-to-toe with them, without a doubt. He's the whole package, in my opinion. And you cannot go wrong with Craig Fairley on your team.
Here's something to think about, though, guys. So Sin Bodhi has a number one contender shot at anything. Yeah. Who wants to see the fun mind games between Sin Bodhi and David Drake?
So,
holy crap!
I think I think those mind games, that's going to be a show in itself. But when it comes down to it, and you guys will see when we discuss this later on the show, David Drake's a no-nonsense type of guy. And when it comes to getting the job done, I mean, he'll do what he has to do to get the job done, retain that, to keep that gold on him,
Right, but he 9 times out of 10, it scares the person he's going against. This is that one time where, like, Sin Bodhi's going to laugh at him and be like, hi, you want to come play? Like,
I agree. I think this will be something that, like, Sin Bodhi will be like, all right, been there, seen this before. You're not the first person to try this on me.
Yeah.
Why don't you try this on for size? And then some real weird shit starts happening. David
Sin Bodhi's going to be like, hey, you want to know how to tie the knots better? You're tying me up wrong. Hold on. Come here.
Yeah. Give me a son. Let me show you how to do it.
Well, everyone's saying, David Drake's never been in a match with someone like Sin Bodhi, right? Well, isn't it safe to say perhaps Sin Bodhi's never been in a match with someone like David Drake?
I'm willing to believe it more the other way, to be honest with you. Not to try to start a fight about it, but I'm more willing to believe that he's going to have a much harder time playing those deathly mind games that he plays with all the other RMP superstars. We saw him doing it most recently with Dak Draper. He did it with Sledge. He's doing it with Dak Draper. We're going to get into that match in a little while. I don't think it's going to have the same level of effect on a Sin Bodhi.
He hauls Sin Bodhi out in a tarp. Sin's going to be like, I'm going on vacation. Cool.
Where are we going? Where are we going?
I'll take a nap.
First time playing I Spy in the plastic trash.
Yeah.
Mind games aside, if I
spy something blue,
if we see a match between those two, I'm putting my money on David Drake.
And that's not a bad bet.
Another conversation for another day. I get it, but
we'll get to that.
We'll get to that.
Maybe a night that we sit here and we're talking about that particular match too.
Yep. So we'll save that for another day.
You guys all set with the Four Corners match?
Yeah.
Good
so
match.
I can lead off the next one. If that's okay.
That's why you're a Zamori guy too. Brett Buff Shea going up against Zamori in a non-title match.
First of all, I love the name Buff Shea. Oh, it just gives me. I don't know
what is wrong with you.
What?
What is wrong
What's wrong
with you?
What's wrong with you? I'm sorry. I like different things. I'm sorry.
I'll be right back.
I'm sorry. I was admiring someone's name. Excuse me.
I like how Marky takes a code yellow every time Triple I said something stupid.
Stupid to you is normal to everyone else. My God. I mean, what's wrong with Buff Shea? My God. I'm admiring the guy's name. My God, he's so critical. God, what's wrong with you guys? Anyways, but I do love my Zamori as well. Zamori is the real deal. So this is a rather short match, but I do give Buff Shea credit here because right away, Buff Shea is no small dude, but Zamori is also no small dude. What do you guys do when you've seen 1,000 wrestling matches when you're facing a larger opponent? You go after their legs. You go after their knees. All right, you go after them. You lose the power in your lower body, and you lose your strength, and you can't execute those power moves like you normally would, and you can't walk as normal either. That's exactly what Buffshay was doing. He quickly attacked Zamori's knee from the get-go, and rightful strategy as well. And every time Zamori tried turning things around and tried mounting any sort of offense whatsoever, Buffshay would go right back to the knee. And it's as if it's as if Buffshay was watching Zamori matches for the past 2 years, because the strategy was working. At one point though, Zamori is able to finally mount some actual real offense, and he looks like he's about to turn things around. He hits multiple clotheslines on Buffshay, but Zamori makes a rookie mistake. He makes a rookie mistake, and he turns his back on Buffshay after those barrage of clotheslines. And therefore Buffshay goes to attack Zamori's knee again. But luckily Zamori has the wherewithal to apply that front chancery for literally the quickest tap out I've seen in RMP. I think Zamori, the front chancery, you lock that in, you're not escaping that. So I feel like Zamori may have lucked out a little bit, and that's not a knock on his wrestling ability at all. I love the dude. I love his wrestling ability. But the fact that your knees were basically jello at that point, and you had turned your back on Buffshay after taking advantage of those couple of vicious clotheslines, you're lucky you get out of the match. I will say that, because you may not be so lucky next time. That's all. What do you guys, Kosa, what do you think about that? Do you think it was luck, or do you think maybe it's something else that in which Zamori may have won the match from?
I think it was something else, because I think if this is a year ago, Zamori loses its match. And I don't think it's close. I think he gets dominated. But this new look, this new focus, this new determination helped him win this. And because he was so beaten down, he gathered every little bit of aggression he had left and locked that front chancery on, because he knew that's what won him the title. And that's what's going to keep winning him matches. Because if he gets you in that, it's lights out. You either take a nap or you tap out. And tonight, Buffshay didn't want to take a nap, and I don't blame him, because he knows it's not his only chance to challenge for this title. He can, if he gets some wins, he can get to the 5. I think it was smart on his part to tap out so early. I give him credit, because now he's at less, instead of being, 25% maybe for the next week, he's, 40%, because he wasn't in it for a minute and a half, struggling to be honest, you're not going to get out of it when a man Zamori's size locks you into something like that. Marky, I mean, the pressure and all of that on Zamori right now, this is his 3rd title defense in less than a month.
Yeah.
How many more of these can he do this close together?
I think we're learning the story of Zamori's resiliency to be able to take beatings and keep moving forward and getting to where he gets to a point where he knows he has the match won. That chancery, where Z is so big and he can just get somebody in the center of the ring, is one of those moves that he can get on you quicker than you can realize you're in it. And that's going to be detrimental to a lot of people that are going to challenge him for that. But it also leaves him open in the middle of the ring for a boot or a knee here or there, and then things can change very, very quickly. But lately, we've been seeing this redemption story that is Zamori, of being able to pull these matches out and still give respect at the end. And he tried at the end of this, too. There was a potential handshake between him and Buffshay, but then Buffshay turned that back all around, and just the low blow and then the beat down on Zamori in the middle of the ring. And we really see what Brett Buffshay's true colors are about. Because in this match, he did wrestle a very strong match. He got on the leg. He stayed there the entire time, trying to ground Jumbo as much as he can. But Zamori was just too powerful, and he can just get you away from him with one shoulder block. We saw that happen early in the match, where Z wins that first takedown against 2 big dudes. This was a hoss fight for everything that was considered a hoss fight. But Zamori proving that he can be resilient at the end, I think, has been clutch. What about Buffshay?
Oh, Buffshay's favorite wrestler in RMP history must be Steven Ashburn. That's all I can say.
Similar situations. But I think this is a big deal for Zamori going forward. I think there's a lot of confidence. And, Sunday, if you're the Ignition champion, and now here you are, not in a title defense moment, but still in a primetime match in a big spot on a major pay-per-view, when you come back and get this win, that sends a message to the the roster that which you hold the title to. That Ignition roster in the points chase right now is looking at Zamori finding these wins and finding ways to win. If you're on that roster, what do you take out of it?
I take out of it that Zamori, even if he's not on the top of his game, facing tough competition, can get a win. That front chancery is dangerous. You gotta keep your distance from that guy, because if he gets his hands on you, you're done. You know, if he locks that in, you're out. So, if I'm in that points race, I'm actually looking at it going, you know what? Let somebody else try to take the beating from him first. Let's wear the big man down. Let's have him have a little bit longer run and put the pressure on him a little more, and then maybe I'll step in and take my chance at him. Because man, I don't, maybe somebody else will break out of that front chancery and kind of show you a way first. Because I don't know if I want to step in the ring with that guy right now. He's just gonna choke you out. Like I said, he was, Buff Shea put on a hell of a performance. It wasn't exactly a long match, but he was pretty much dominating the match. And then all of a sudden, he's tapping out instantly. So Zamori wasn't at his peak and still wins. I mean, that shows you the level. Like the top tier guys, and that in any sport, the top tier teams, top tier guys, whatever, when they're not at their peak, can still work out wins. Those are the guys that are the top tier.
Unfortunately, that is not the Bruins tonight.
Correct. Correct. But
they're bombs.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, you do have to go through a point system on Ignition, so if you want to wait, you're going to have to lose some matches before you can get a chance to time your spot out right. We'll go over that a little bit later on in the show if we have time. Did we all go? Did we all go for Brett Buff Shea and Zamori?
Yeah. Good win for Zamori. Moving forward. Ignition champion.
All right.
Ignition roster, beware.
Yeah.
Asylum beware, I do believe.
Yes.
Because our next match here between Noelle and Lilith has huge implications for Milestone and the Asylum and the Lockets division as we know it. Noelle versus Lilith Grimm, non-title one-on-one competition. This has been brewing for months. Boys, what do you have on this one?
This is the best I've ever seen Noelle look, guys. Like, honestly, even since she's become this new marionette psychopath Chucky doll that she is, she's never been this aggressive. It was like something else was coming out. Like, it was like Salem pulls out this aggression, but this might have been all the beating she took about 18 months ago from Lilith back when she was first starting out, just getting the snot kicked out of her repeatedly and remembering all that. And Noelle is doing a wonderful job at, Marky, you and I did a lot of reigniteds, and we used to say, she just needs to be more aggressive. She just needs to be more aggressive. Oh, she heard us loud and clear. She's very aggressive now.
Yeah.
And I thought there were points tonight where I'm like, this is what happens. Lilith gets to the pay-per-view, she's successful, and then loses. We build up to the pay-per-view, she gets there, loses. Because it's happened quite a bit, guys. It's how it runs. Not tonight. And even the mind games didn't help tonight. Because when those lights came back on and I saw that look that Lilith had, I was like, oh, that's the demon. Oh, the demon's back. And then she proceeded to put Noelle's head through the mat with the Lilithine. And then, Marky, did you see what we got to see again at the end? The Mancuerda. She ripped her arms off.
Yes, she did. After giving, 9 head smashes in that Lilithine over and over and over, picked her up for the Mancuerda for
Take
good
guys,
measure.
take lives.
Yo.
Yeah.
But then the lights go out right after that because Salem tries to jump in and make the save. Then the lights go out again for the second time.
Sam was going to get beat up.
And now we see JC up on the apron. And the demon Lilith Grimm doesn't have an F to give. Runs right up, starts with the shots, pushes her off the apron, is not intimidated whatsoever. The demon is back. The demon Lilith Grimm is back, and you need to be a demon to follow and be able to defeat the Asylum's goddess, JC. If we're going to elevate, Lilith Grimm decided to devolve into what she was before, and what she was before was very, very different. JC hasn't seen this. This is going to be very, very interesting leading into Milestone. Lilith Grimm has gotten that redemption back. This has been a big redemption story we've been watching for a long time for Lilith. She got a redemption against Noelle. Coming into Milestone, boys, Lilith and JC potentially, probably, please and thank you, explode the roof off the arena. What do you boys think of that?
Definitely. I mean, I don't know if we're going to see, which version of Lilith we're going to see. It looks like it's the demon, but maybe she kind of bounces back and forth. Maybe it's a mind game she's playing, because obviously we know the Asylum's good at those. So, maybe she's trying to do this to get out in front of them. But yeah, I mean, these two going at it, Milestone would be a pretty big clash, and it would probably pretty much tear the house down and tear the Asylum down along with it, maybe. But Lilith looks like she's more ready now than I've ever seen her. She's had her chances. She's climbed to the top of that mountain, but I don't think I've ever seen her as ready as she seems now. And JC's got something to watch out for here. And I don't know if JC's seen something like what Lilith is, because like we mentioned during JC's match earlier tonight, she's usually the bigger, stronger, more physically dominant competitor in the match. She isn't in a match against Lilith. Lilith is stronger. Lilith is more physically dominant. So this will be very interesting going forward. And to go to touch on Noelle here, and Coastal had it right. This was Noelle's by far her best performance, going up against somebody like Lilith, and she put on that kind of a show. It speaks volumes to what she's become. And I mean, we just talked to her a couple weeks ago, and she was pretty adamant about her and Lilith and going at it and everything. But Lilith is, Noelle is definitely going to be a player in this Lock X division for a long time to come.
I think there's many focal points to take out of this. One of the focal points here is don't get on Lilith's bad side at all. We saw what happens. We just saw what happened on Friday with this match. You do, and then you don't want to have a grudge against her, because my God, you're going to lose your life almost. I mean, look what she did with those Lilith teams. Like, it was like 9 of them, you said, Marky? My God, goodness gracious. It was I cringed watching it because poor Noelle is half the size of Lilith, and she's just ramming her back and forth, bouncing her head off the mat. And yeah, don't ever get on Lilith's bad side. Don't ever turn your back on her. Just don't. I also feel that this aggressive side of Lilith, but no, let me take that back. It's not that it's an aggressive side. Lilith has 0 Fs to give now. She used to have Fs to give with all the friends she was trying to, to be, all the people she was trying to become friends with and care for them and stuff like that. And then they join the Asylum, they turn their back on them. Lilith tries to help out to no avail, gets hurt. Yeah. Guess what? Lilith has 0 Fs to give. She has nothing to lose and everything to gain. That automatically makes her, in my opinion, the most dangerous female in the Lock X division if she wasn't already. So as good as JC is, and she is that good because she's the champ right now, watch out, because Lilith doesn't care and she's coming after you. So if that match does happen at Milestone, and if it does happen for the Lock X championship, JC, if I were you, I'd be worrying a little bit. I would be, because I know I would.
There's going to be no cake.
No, absolutely not. Abso-freaking-lutely not. Yeah, good luck. And Salem Wolf is not going to save you either.
We all set on the Lock S?
Yeah, I'm kind of nervous right now. God.
Why?
Because when I go to bed pretty soon, and I dream every night. Obviously, I have a feeling that when I dream, I'm gonna get guillotined. I don't know why, but it's gonna happen to me. So I'm kind of nervous right now. Hopefully I can get on her bad side.
Best of luck to you.
Yeah.
Oh, thank you. I'm gonna prepare my will right after this. Whew.
You're going to be buried with all your money. We know that.
I have other assets.
This guy. All right.
But yes, that is true.
Changing gears here. Lilith looks like she's going to be on a collision course with JC in the near future. More than likely Milestone, at the way that everything is shaping up to be. We got to talk about the Rocky Mountain Pro Championship here. And what happened during this match between Dak Draper and David Drake. Very interesting co-main event here. Boys, what did you think about this one? I thought this was probably match of the night.
I mean, this match was intense, man, and it's exactly what we would have expected out of it. Two guys, big guys, strong guys that have a pretty good pedigree. We've seen what Drake's been doing, and I think Dak was a little thrown off by Drake and all the mind games and everything. But I think as the match went on, he got into being more of himself and more of the competitor that he is, and he just kept going. The match was back and forth, kept trying to hit that Draper bomb. Actually, had him up in it once, and then, Drake gets that mandible maul on in the air, and then goes again, hits him with the Draper bomb, and on a 2 count, Drake pops up and gets him with the mandible maul. Drake's strategy in that match was mandible maul. That was mandible maul. Yes. Yeah. If I get this on, I win. But I don't even think that was in his mind about winning. I think it was, if I get this on, I hurt him. Because that's what he wants to do, is hurt. And as it was going back and forth, all of a sudden a bell rings out of nowhere. Ref calls for the bell, and like Danger Dean said, the match was so intense and we're so focused on it, we're not even thinking about the time limit involved. And next thing you know, time limit's up, and we have a draw. And it's a little disappointing to not have a winner there, but I mean, if it means we get a little bit more out of them too, I'm okay with that too. If I'm Dak Draper, I'm going, okay, give me another match, but just give me a little bit more time, or make it a different stipulation, something, and give him another chance. Whether Mr. Danger Dean will afford him that opportunity or not, we don't know. But with it being a draw, Maki, who do you think was the true winner coming out of the match, though? Who do you think looked like the better of the competitors?
To be honest with me, at the time, at the bell, neither. Up till that point, the match was extremely 50-50 with move, counter move. Draper mounting a lot of the initial offense, and then David Drake being able to counter, get into the maul, and get the space, get what he needed. It was point, counterpoint, move, counter move for almost the entire match. Nobody really had the utmost advantage for any period of decided amount of time. And then we get the bell ring, and all I want is 5 more minutes. Please, Can we have 5 more minutes? And then we see the most uncharacteristic thing that I think we've seen in RMP in the last calendar year. From this match, this time limit draw, David Drake reaches out a hand for Dak Draper to shake his hand in a sign of respect from David Drake. Not saying that that's something that's well earned, but that is the last thing that we would have thought. Draper, being a man of honor and understands the competition he was just in that match, he shakes that hand and there's no incident. David Drake takes his bag and goes to the back. And while Dak Draper is standing in the ring, we figure out exactly what was on David Drake's mind, because he comes back out with that pipe, didn't he, Coastal? And came back out with the absolute beatdown of Dak Draper on the outside of the ring. This is just more mind jobs, even from a guy that didn't win or didn't lose, because I don't think it's about the winning and the losing. Like Sunday said, I think it's just about the hurting.
David Drake reminds me of the guy that's in the maximum security facility that's on 23-hour lockdown. And this is the 1 hour he gets to go out in the yard. And like, it's basically playtime for Drake. He goes out there, and Sunday's right. He just wants to inflict pain on people, somebody other than himself, because I'm pretty sure he's probably not the nicest guy to himself either. I'd hate to see what goes on behind closed doors with Drake. Being a fly on the wall in his apartment would be terrifying. But he comes back out, and it's like he didn't get enough bloodlust. It's like his violence quota wasn't filled with a time limit draw, so we need to hit people with a pipe.
Mhm.
It's like, I don't respect you. You didn't learn. It's almost like he put the hand out to be like, okay, hit me. Keep hitting me. I think Drake was angry that it didn't go to a decisive winner. I think that's what he wants. And if there's no one's going to choose, he's going to pick a winner, and he's always going to pick him. And that's what he did tonight.
You think it was frustration that 4 or 5 mandible mauls wasn't enough to get it done against a guy? You think he just lost his mind at the end? Well, you have to have your mind before you can lose it.
You know,
Do you think he went to an even deeper dark place with that?
You know, Marky, it's either one of two things. It's what you're saying there, where he was so frustrated that, one, he's taking him out in a tarp. Charge went off right, the end of this week with Draper laying there in blood. Now, 5 mandible mauls isn't enough. It's a time limit draw. So either he was frustrated that he couldn't put him down, and it's the one person he hasn't been able to put down and keep down.
Yep.
Or 2, it's he just wanted to hurt him more. He wasn't hurt enough to satisfy Drake. And honestly, I don't know which one it is, because eyes, man, dude, Drake's one of those, like, he's nightmare fuel. He's nightmare fuel.
He is. But at the same time, I think in this match, Draper was a nightmare for David Drake, actually. And let me explain. This goes off of Marky's point as well. When he said he believed it was 50-50 throughout the match, which I get what you're saying. I saw the same match you did, and it was 50-50 for the most part. However, towards the end of the match, who did I think had the advantage at that point, or the bigger advantage at that point? I thought it was Dak Draper. I really did. And let me explain. We've seen all of David Drake's matches since he's won the RMP Heavyweight Championship. And all of David Drake's matches, how many times has he applied the mandible maul? 4, 5, 6 times, and his opponent has escaped every single time. So it was Sunday. It was either you or Marky that said it. David Drake's strategy was one thing: mandible maul. What did Dak Draper do? He countered his one and only strategy 4, 5, 6 times. That's never happened in any of David Drake's opponents. Number 2, this went to a time limit. This was a 15-minute match, I believe, right? Someone correct me if I'm wrong.
Yep.
15 minutes, Johnny and Marky. When's the last time you've seen someone take a David Drake to the limit in a 15-minute match? I haven't. And 3, I know it was a draw. I get it, time limit. Even if someone took David Drake to a 15-minute match or close to it, or close to that, did Dak lose to David Drake? Did he tap out to that mandible maul? Was his shoulders pinned? Nope. So what other opponent has given David Drake this much? What's what I'm looking for? That much of a challenge, and in all the months he's been the RMP champion.
You can argue Craig Fairley.
You could. You absolutely could. I was thinking of Craig Fairley right away. And as great as Craig is, and I'm not gonna. And we said that a few minutes ago. Unfortunately, Craig did tap out to the mandible maul. He lost. All right. And there was no answer for that really. But here, 4, 5, 6 times, you go to a 15-minute match. You don't tap out. Name me another opponent that's done that. To the T. You haven't. So I thought Dak had the advantage towards the end of the match. And
Because
don't
he
you,
frustrated
Anybody
David
else?
Drake.
right. That's exactly it, Mikey. That's
Okay.
exactly it. He frustrated him. And don't you think because he frustrated him, because Drake is used to, oh, Millendable Mall, match over, retain my title, I'll go back to doing creepy stuff or whatever he's doing. Okay?
Kidnapping people.
But exactly, but because he couldn't put him away, technically didn't win the match. That frustrated him. Inside, that probably did something to him. That did something to his maybe his mojo or whatever. I don't know. But internally, it triggered something. It triggered something because it frustrated him to the point where, you know what? I didn't win the match. I couldn't put him away. Oh, I'm going to get my win some way, somehow. I'm going to put him away some way, somehow. So after the match, bell rings, handshake. No, screw you. First chance I take, lead pipe, boom. That's my victory right there. I'm in charge, not you. I'm the better man, not you. I have the advantage, not you. You'll remember who I am, and I'm still the champ. That's the message he was trying to send.
Anybody else want to argue his point?
No.
No, you really can't.
It's difficult to argue any point about what David Drake is thinking because we haven't even heard a single peep out of his face, let alone him elaborating. So everything we can see that ties together is that David Drake wants you to know who he is, and David Drake is going to make you remember who he is while you're recovering in a hospital bed somewhere. That is his goal. That is his focus. And he just happens to be the Rocky Mountain Pro Heavyweight Champion at the same time.
You know, he's got some fun hobbies like, amateur taxidermy or something like that.
I bet you he's an avid train collector.
Yeah.
Like model trains and stuff. I bet he has like big tables in his garage and he runs over little bugs with the trains and stuff and gets all that like little kid psycho stuff out.
He probably collects stamps as well.
It's possible.
I could
creepy.
see that.
Yeah.
That's one of those creepy habits.
Oh, absolutely. I was going to say something. Oh, yeah, the last point I want to make about this is the old saying goes, everyone, actions speak louder than words. That couldn't be any more true than for the man named David Drake. Literally 0 words in his whole time as champ and 100% action. Right?
100.
All right. Per to the new rules of Rocky Mountain Pro, even though this match ended in a draw, there is no rematch regardless. So, again, to this point, David Drake goes to the back of the line for the RMP title picture.
Dak Draper.
Dak Draper, yes, sorry.
There's too many D's. We had a Danger Dean, a Dak Draper.
Oh, yeah.
Remy D.
David Drake.
David Drake.
There's a lot of double D's in this promotion.
I love double D's, by the way.
Yeah. Oh, you can't. There's a D here, a D there, a D everywhere.
We are talking about extremely different D's. So moving on to
Yes,
the peak of
we
the
are.
match. This match with some of these competitors
All right.
was off the hook. We got to get into this because there was so much.
And there's some good teams.
All kinds of stuff to talk about right here, bro.
All right. So I don't know how you guys want to do this portion here.
I have an idea, Johnny.
Go ahead.
You set the stage, and then tell us who the 4 teams that started were, and then be the first elimination, and we'll talk about how they got eliminated, and then you could tell us the new team, then we'll talk about the next elimination. I think that's the easiest way to do it.
All right.
Probably.
If you guys have some creative names, let me know as I'm announcing these teams. All right.
Oh, don't worry.
All right. The first team to come out to the ring here in this Peak of the Pack match of 2023, we had Atiba and Mig Diamond.
And you know what? If we had Cushman out there, we could add the new trios of Rocky Mountain Pro, Puff the Magic Dragon.
Yes. Yes.
Cushman, Mick Diamond, and Atiba, Puff the Magic Dragon.
Well,
Told you THC
smoke and
was better
mirrors,
than
yeah.
CBD.
Smoke
Yeah.
and mirrors is
Yes.
a thing. All right. So there's the first name right out of the get-go here.
The Magic Dragons. Okay, we can do that too.
Next team to enter was Dalton McKenzie and Curtis Cole.
This team is one of those sneaky teams that you look at and you go, if they develop any kind of chemistry, Look, Curtis Cole is not one of the people we speak very fondly of here, but we've also given him the credit and the respect. And everything that we've seen out of Dalton McKenzie so far is like, you better run away. Don't get in this guy's way. This isn't
Dalton
something you
McKenzie is an absolute tank.
This is a monster of a human being.
And this team,
thrill.
This team I've dubbed twins, like Schwarzenegger and DeVito.
Yeah.
Dalton and the douchebag.
I like Lucas's better.
Oh, God.
Dalton and the Delta Bravo.
We don't know enough about Dalton McKenzie yet to kind of understand his
more D's
way of thinking about things.
More
but
Ds.
yes, more double D's. Marky loves double D's.
The only thing is, Marky, you said it, if this team could, and if this team could get on the same page and everything, and give Curtis credit his due, that's absolutely true. The thing is, Curtis Cole doesn't like anyone. So since he doesn't like anyone, it's going to be impossible for anyone who is his tag team partner to get on the same page.
But Curtis also isn't an idiot. He's an idiot.
Well,
he's also not an idiot in that same regard. He's going to see somebody in the size, form, and ability of a Dalton McKenzie and say, you know what? This guy is a ticket to the finals of this match where I can wrestle one-on-one for a chance at a title. I need to win with this guy right now. And they proved in the match that they could, violently coexist with each other. I think is one way we could drop that subtly. We'll get to it.
They worked about as well as herding cats together. But
all right, the third team that entered in the Peak of the Pack match was Johnny Casanova and Kendrick LaRoe.
Johnny Casanova with some of the best entrance music in RMP, and Kendrick LaRoe. Oh, I was
this team I have dubbed Big Sleazy.
I was just going to say, I thought of the exact same name on the side. We did not plan that. I was about to say, this is the team called the Big Sleazy. Very much so. And that has nothing to do with Kendrick LaRoe.
The big part does.
The big part does.
Thanks, the big part, right. But thanks for the New Orleans reference. Like, that's where it ends, dude. Kendrick, we love you here. We ain't talking about you on
Absolutely not.
Casanova, on the other hand. And then there was still one more to start.
And the fourth team was Bruce Wayans and the other half of JK Pop, Caden Koyama.
At least he didn't have to tag with smelly Johnny Casanova.
Yeah, oh my God. Never hear the end of that.
I think there is a respect between these two. They don't really like each other too much, but even Boss has said he doesn't really have too much against Caden, and he's actually credited his wrestling because we got to give it to him. Caden Koyama is fantastic, technically gifted, has it all. I believe was the speed and the technician of JK Pop, to be completely honest, and him with the power of the final boss, Bruce Wayans, also makes for an imposing, sneaky tag team right here. Really.
I'll tell you what, they were a Hawaiian shirt away from being the final boss of Trader Joe's. Caden looks like he works at Trader Joe's with like the big pants and.
Oh my God.
Well done, sir. That was well done. Well done.
Johnny said if I had creative names, do.
Those are good.
All right, so those were your first four entrants into the Peak of the Pack match. Now we'll have you guys talk about this before we introduce the next team.
Well, I was really, really impressed with Dalton. That was the main takeaway I have from this, is that man is a giant. And if there is an answer to the David Drake problem, we might have found it.
I was also impressed with Mick Diamond. I mean, he didn't get a lot of offense in, but he was resilient. He got he got destroyed from pillar to post. He kept coming back in and kept trying and kept going. You know, step one of becoming a successful professional wrestler is resiliency. The first time you take a big move, if you're done, then you're never going to be successful. But he could keep coming back. It shows some good heart out of the kid, and you know, so hopefully he can add a little more offense to his game. But
he's like, is this your card? Is this your card?
He definitely has hot, man. Hand over fist. The kid is not short in the hot department whatsoever. it's the whole offensive thing
Yeah,
that is definitely needing.
he's lacking at the moment. Yeah,
I think
because they take him from pillar to post in the first part of this match.
I think also, Mark, you make a lot of good points, but by taking the beating that Mick Diamond did and going against all these competitors, I think maybe this will also toughen him up a little bit for his future matches as well. And if you
he's tough as beef jerky, man.
but my point is, he was surviving the first 5-10 minutes in that match. It was basically almost him and any other opponent. And at one point, I'm like, all right, when's someone gonna get the pinfall on him? And he was kicking out, wasn't giving up. Like, my God, maybe this is the dark horse here, him and Atiba, and they're just gonna go for it, and they could win the whole thing. So at one point,
if he had any help, because Atiba wasn't doing any heavy lifting,
but he got tagged out to anyone as well. I mean, just tag
when
out.
you're on your back looking up at the lights, it's hard to tag people.
I know, but I would just roll and I don't know. But yeah, I get what you're saying. I get it.
yeah.
It was during a lot of this Mick Diamond getting kind of destroyed that we did see, and he was, getting up and kicking out. But during a lot of this, we saw a lot of Dalton McKenzie and Curtis Cole not enjoying each other's company. But then you start to see them develop this kind of odd, weird chemistry between
It's
each
the
other.
Gino Rivera and Nathan Estrada experiment.
It is. They started finding this vibe between the two of them that they could be very dominant if they worked together as a coherent team. And they really did start to.
I think Dalton figured out that if he beat everybody else up and got to the end, he got to beat up Curtis. And if that's not motivation, I mean,
it started to just really start to where we saw JK Pop tagging themselves in, getting their offense in on McDiamond first, and then Dalton comes in and him and Cole start tagging out, going back and forth first. And
were those tags or chops?
Chops.
They tagged each other in, but I'm a ref.
Oh, they did.
Those are tags. That's a tag. That's a tag. Finally, Mick Diamond ended up pushing Dalton into Curtis Cole, and that absolutely pisses off everybody in the ring, and we see Mick Diamond get eliminated at this point in time. And then we see the next team come out. You want to read off the team, John? I don't know if you wanted to keep reading the new teams that are coming out.
Well, that was the plan.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, yeah. So Mick Diamond is the first out. He and Atiba are eliminated first from this year's Peak of the Pack.
No more Magic Dragons.
No. Until after the show. Once the show's over.
All right, the next team that came out to take Mick Diamond and Atiba's place was none other than Brew and Briscoe Crown, the other half of your starting lineup. Coastal, what do we have for this team?
This is Brusco. Brusco.
Okay. It fits.
It's a new beer made with buffalo milk. Yes. Put hair on your ass.
All right, boys, go right ahead.
I don't want hair on my ass.
Italian happens.
Jeez.
It just kind of happens. What are you going to do? Now, Brumac and Briscoe come in for a little bit of a while. And there's a whole
Not
lot
long,
going on
though.
here.
Yeah, a little bit is the
Wasn't
best
very
way.
long.
Yeah.
No, Briscoe took all the offense. We actually didn't even see Brew
We didn't know.
get into the match in and of itself. We see JK
The
Pop
Breezy
tag themselves in
Buffaloes.
again. The Breezy Buffaloes.
Buffalo Crown.
JK Pop tagging in their classic drop kicks in the corner, just putting the patented offense on Briscoe. And then Casanova must have been playing 2K the other day and learned a new move. Hits Briscoe with a brain buster.
A good
He
one.
tried.
A good one.
See, I figured it out. You know how I used to cover for him? Like, I got a good one for this. He tried to suplex him and he tripped and he accidentally gave him a brain buster. I'm pretty sure that was an accident because I've never seen Johnny Casanova hit a move that clean in my life.
There's like 300 people at RMP that do a brain buster. They want their move back, bro. Well,
Yeah.
anyway, Briscoe ends up getting pinned. So now we've had Mick Diamond be pinned after a big old boo from Kendrick LaRoe. We've had Briscoe Crown be pinned after a brain buster from Johnny Casanova. So now Briscoe Crown and the Buffalo are now out, and we get our 6th team into the fray.
The next team that came out to replace them, I want to see actually Coastal come up with a decent name for this one. Zamori and Lord Mitchell Taylor.
Uh,
Yeah, that's a tough one.
it is a tough one because, you know,
This one's easy to me. Remember the Power Rangers back in the day? This is Team Lord Zed right here.
I thought you were going to go with Bulk and Skull
No,
from
I
Power
don't
Rangers back in the day.
Maury like that either way. No way. I'm too scared. I'm not insulting that.
I was going
man.
to go with Bulk for him. I mean, Dumb Skull for Lord Mitchell Taylor. Probably lost some land somewhere because of that.
And the match continues. Royale with cheese.
Roy Howard cheese, I like that.
Royale with cheese. All right.
Yeah.
He said it, so we can say it. That's fine. Okay. I don't know. I didn't go to the Burger King. I don't know what they call
Zamori
it.
goes, I'm Royale, and Mitch is cheese.
That's it. That's what I was going with. That's what I was thinking.
Totally.
That's Zamore.
But he is Zamora is a champ.
Zamore,
He is a champ. He is Royale.
Lord of the Belly Button, Titus.
Oh, man.
Well, shortly after those guys come in,
Yeah.
we see Dalton McKenzie deliver a huge power slam to Johnny Casanova. And he's got this, Dalton has this like 2nd story power slam. It's not just a nice on your shoulder, like the British Bulldogs power slam. It's not like Randy Orton's power slam off the ropes and you just go. You climb this 15-foot ladder that is Dalton Castle's vertical leap. And then you come down and you go boom. And he delivered that to more than a few people tonight, and it made this guy jump out of his seat when I saw Casanova have to eat that.
You have time. You have time to see all the things you've done in your life you regret as you're coming down on the mat.
You're going.
Johnny
around
Casanova did
5
his
seconds
best.
super-
He did his best bug hitting a Kia impression. Like,
And it couldn't have happened to a nicer guy.
Couldn't have. It was
yeah,
perfect.
hey, as Bruce Wayne says, we can't use that mat anymore because now there's just a big Johnny Casanova stain on it. Probably
That's true. It's expensive to clean those canvases, man. It really
Yeah.
is. So after
Blood-
Casanova goes,
blood's one thing, but Casanova stain? Ugh.
Casanova just letting more people down. Him and Kendrick LaRoe are out of the match at this point in time. And then we get our 7th team.
This one might be the best one. This one might be the
This
one.
was the most unique.
I thought they were the favorites.
Totally.
We have Sergey and Tengu.
I have 2 for this.
You have
I have
2.
1.
Oh,
I do. One is a Clockwork Sergey for Tengu's mask. And the other one is the Sergey Pro Wrestling Academy because Sergey trained him, so it's the Sergey Pro Wrestling Academy.
I was just thinking Sergey.
that's too. That's
But
what it is.
a Clockwork Sergey is pretty good.
No, the Wrestling
Clockwork
Academy was
Sergey
good.
Is perfect if you've ever seen Clockwork Orange. You know
Yeah.
exactly. Yes.
What?
Yes.
Okay, the Sergey.
By the way,
Wrestling Academy.
I want one of Sergey's sweatshirts that say I wrestle on the back.
Yes. Yes.
Please. Can we get that for merch?
All right, go right
I
ahead.
know we can order the
Oh.
hoodie. I know we can get the hoodie, but we need to get the
Tango
hoodie.
was impressive though. You know that? Tango was very impressive, running around and getting in the way of people. I can't say much for the offense, but Sergey has taught Tango how to use speed, which is a big thing for Tango. It very much is. But things don't really end all that well for Tango and Sergey, but they do stay in for a while. I'll give them credit. They stayed in longer than anybody thought they probably would.
Mhm. They outlasted the next elimination.
Yeah.
They did.
During this elimination, right before, we saw some more of this Dalton McKenzie, Curtis Cole interaction where they're taking turns kind of one-upping each other and showing each other, hey, anything you can do, I can do. I don't care how long you've been here. Watch what I can do right now. And this is an interesting dynamic. Curtis Cole might have effed around and found out from somebody that wants to show him how badly he found out in this given situation. Because Dalton leaps up and takes Caden Koyama for that 2nd story power slam as well. And Koyama is absolutely out of there at this point. So both members of JK Pop were planted in the center of the 18 by 18 at the Wimmer Arena. So now Caden Koyama and Bruce Waynes are gone out of this match.
I also want to point out, Marky, right before Koyama was eliminated through that second story power slam there, is that right before that, Mackenzie had accidentally chopped his own partner, Curtis Cole.
That wasn't an accident.
That wasn't an accident.
Oh, well, it wasn't, but my point is...
You feel bad if it's an accident.
Okay.
That's just something that happened.
It happened. But
He stared at him in the face with a smile. That wasn't an accident.
But normally,
That was an on-purpose accident.
Normally, when you hit your own partner, accident or not, you take your focus away from the match. You take your focus away from the point at hand. And Mackenzie still had the wherewithal to get his focus right back in the match after hitting Curtis with a chop and basically hit a vicious clothesline from hell on Koyama for that. Then followed by the second story power slam for the 1-2-3. So kudos for having the ring savvy to do that, the ring awareness to do that as well.
Caden had a rough night.
JK Pop had a rough night.
Yes, they did. It was
Well, they had it going at one point, but
They did, yeah, go ahead.
Well, they were smart. They were tagging, like I said earlier, they were tagging each other in to weaken somebody down with more of their own patented offense. They were smart in that regard.
Then they
Tagging
ran
each
into
other.
Dalton.
And then they ran into Dalton.
Yeah.
Yes. Tengu has Casanova's entrance mask. John Corpus in the chat. No, that wasn't Casanova's mask. That thing had to be burned for medical reasons.
Well, it takes
That's
two to
totally-
tango.
Yeah,
That's a good one.
And then Mr. Fourth Row goes, order the hoodie. I can see if I can get Sergey to hand put the rest on.
That'd be awesome.
Dude, can they be like officially licensed Sergey merchandise? Like
I just want to see. I want to see the commercial because it's like old grainy VHS. Come to Russia, Sergey Pro Wrestling Academy. I teach you wrestle.
Well, it looks like
I tell you, I wrestle.
Yeah.
it looks like the defending Stanley Cup champions are no longer in the playoffs as well. So I guess it's going to be the Celtics and Nuggets.
no, that aren't gone yet.
Oh, they're not done yet? Are they losing though?
Oh, Titus put a question mark at the end of it. Did they lose? I don't know. I'm wallowing in self-pity, but I'm trying to carry on for
Can we not talk about hockey?
Yeah.
Sergey merch coming soon. Stay tuned.
I hope so. I want a replica Sergey mask.
A Tengu cam. We'll get to that.
You could strap
Tengu
a camera
cam.
on the nose of Tengu.
No,
We could,
Tangu was running the cam. Remember in the corner?
Yeah.
That's right. He did take the camera for this.
All right. Next team in. Let's see if Coastal's mind can be put to good use here.
Oh, it never is.
Jason Knoll and Brett Buff Shea are your 8th team in the Speak of the Pack match.
Well, they weren't tough enough. We'd call them buff enough. And I don't know if, unfortunately, Jason Knoll had a similar night to Brumac. He didn't really even get in the match. He just kind of stood there while I don't understand if Brett doesn't know the rules. Maybe his pit vipers are on his head a little too tight. I don't know, but you can't anymore. You can't just ball your fist up and punch people in the face, referee Markey. That is illegal now, is it not?
It was illegal to begin with. To be honest, you had to hit him with an open hand, but now they're really enforcing this. And Brett just made a rookie mistake.
Big and buff.
Just went up. Big and buff. Yeah, well, Buff wasn't all that much smart in the stuff because he just gives Tango a full fist to the mouth. And
well, in the nose, probably.
Well, either way, I mean, it's a big beak.
Mattered.
That was a beak and a half on Tango. I could see why he has to wear some protection on it just to protect it, because he gets that big shot to the face and ref rings the bell immediately. Referee rings the bell or disqualifies him. He didn't ring the bell, but he DQs him for the close fist. And now, just as fast as they were in, Buff Shea and Jason Knoll, big and buff, gone.
And on comes the second to last team in this tournament, Panthro and Cushman.
We did miss an elimination. I'm sorry. We got ahead of myself with the Buff Shea thing.
Zamore and Lord Mitchell Taylor.
Yeah.
Yes, Zamore hit his own partner, Lord Mitchell Taylor, with the Samoan drop. And you know what? I don't blame him. I don't blame him. Z,
Yeah.
that was one for the people, bro, and we appreciate you for that one. He deserved it after all.
There was a little part of me that was really hoping Derek Stone was going to be his partner.
That would have been gold.
I'm this close to starting to call him Lord Uppercut or Upper Nut. Like it's the last few times Lord Upper Nut has showed himself.
Pinkies up.
And Zamore got one back for all the people tonight. And Tango with the most unique of windmill pins I've ever seen in my life. He reminded me of like the windmill at the mini golf course. You had to hit the ball through, but he was like sideways, windmilling on Lord Mitchell Taylor. 1, 2, 3.
I like
And Lord
Lucas's
Mitchell
team
Taylor is
name,
out.
by the way, for Cushman and Panthro. Caribbean Kush.
Caribbean Kush. They have that. I should get some of that. But yes, that's a great team name. Yes, it is.
So Cushman and Panthro for your second and last team.
I was going to go with Catnip.
It's actually not bad either. All right, continue.
I like Caribbean Kush. I like
Cushman
Caribbean Kush.
tries. He tries.
Did we go
doesn't
past
have-
the Sergey and Tengu spot?
We haven't
They're-
talked about it yet. It was
Okay.
just about to happen. Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, the elimination?
No, where they
No.
started to fight each other because
They both
were
got
each-
tagged in.
They were each
Well-
individually tagged in, and then
I was-
chose to attack each other.
Well,
And
I
it
was-
good competition for a moment. But then Tango kind of messed up. I think he's listening to Sergey too much. He went back to his own corner to try to tag Sergey back in. And he just got done beating Sergey up.
So here's the thing. I mean, I give him credit because, I mean, that's following the rules to a T. And I think I know where the confusion came. They got told when they were the last two people in the ring that they had to fight each other.
Oh.
Yeah.
So, I mean, they were the last two in the ring at that point, in the ring, so they thought they had to fight each other. That's just what I thought.
It's just good-natured competition. That's what Sergey wants. It seems like that's
Hey.
what Tango wants. They want to go out there and do the thing. I mean, they wrestle.
At Sergey Pro Wrestling Academy, you wrestle everyone, including yourself.
I love it. Imagine. Oh God, I can't.
You got Giggle Pants
Can
over
we get-
here.
Can we get commercials with Sergey doing it, kind of like we had Hoodie doing the Hoodlum Pro Wrestling? Can we get Sergey to make a commercial like that, please?
Oh, I can't wait to see
Oh.
what Sergey wants. Watch
What-
your kids.
No,
Comes
no,
with
no,
goat.
no, no, no. No, we need to get Sergey to promote the YouTube membership in a commercial for
Yes.
$9.99.
Yes, and Tengu, both of them.
Yes. Does Tengu speak Russian?
Does he speak English?
We don't know.
Hey, you know what? I
Does he
bet you can
speak?
work it out. I bet you can work it out with Sergey, where when you sign up for the $9.99 pay-per-view membership, you get one free Sergey Pro Wrestling Academy video lesson.
Ooh.
And it's the real basics: tying your boots and putting your mask on. That's where
$9.99 American dollars. Yes.
$9.99 American dollars.
Yeah. Step 2, getting in the ring.
Well, we had some issues with getting in the ring. That's something that Tangu's going to need to go over again,
Right.
right, Marky?
Yeah.
We're about to get to that in just a moment here. Yes.
Yeah.
But after we saw Buff Shea earlier use that closed fist, did you announce that the last team that entered?
No, because I think
John?
we still have. Oh, actually, no.
No, it was.
Yeah.
I jumped ahead a couple. Like there were some spots that went back and forth. But yeah, that last team was the shocker. And even if it wasn't a shocker, even if you seen it coming, you know you wanted it.
All
I
right.
saw it coming, but I still wanted it.
Coastal.
Yo.
Damon and Matt Yaden are the last team to enter the Peak of the Pack match.
Violence. Just
The violence.
combustion. Like,
violent
yes,
dudes.
it's not the tag dudes. It's the
violent
punch
dudes.
dudes. I mean, number one.
Orbital bombardment.
Listen, number one.
Mhm.
For weeks now, Dean, listen, Dean,
Uh-oh.
there's supposed to be no rematches, but all of a sudden JK Pop gets a rematch. Okay, maybe you got annoyed with Preston. There's supposed to be no rematches. Lola gets her. Okay, well, maybe she was robbed the first time. Now Yaden asked to be put in this.
The Lola one I can back up.
Well,
The Lola one I can back
This
up.
is where I'm getting, though, Johnny. Dean doesn't seem very sturdy on his stances on things. It seems like you can get what you want if you go to the president and just ask enough. Now, I don't know if it's because, Yaden signs the paychecks. I don't want to think Yaden would ever abuse his ownership of the company in that way, but he wasn't supposed to be in the match because he's a champion. That's just not how it works. We hear that at the very, very beginning of the whole telecast. Now, I understand he wants Damon. Marky, do you think there's any part of you that Damon was just, any part in your head that thinks this is all how Damon wanted it?
Yep.
Okay, I thought it was just me.
I think Damon would take a shot at Mercury Yaden, or wants to get his hands on Mercury Yaden when he wakes up, before he has his coffee, while he's driving to work, while he's coming to the arena, while he's finding out what's going on that night's show, while he's going home before he takes his shoes off and has dinner. I think that there isn't a time of day that Damon Ace isn't looking to get his hands on Mercury Yaden. And I think that at this moment, when at the beginning of the show, when we hear Yaden this adamant that he wants to be in this Peak of the Pack match, he uses the fact that he won it last year by himself after being completely just ghost-tastified by that knucklehead Curtis Cole last year. He still won the Peak of the Pack match himself. He uses that stroke. He ends up getting himself into the match with the most unlikely of competitors to be paired with. However, the more we kept going and going, the less I kind of thought that we were not going to see Damon Ace in this match. You cannot have a match of this caliber and not see a Damon Ace come in. And then when they come in together as the final team, does it work? Can they stay together for a few minutes, get to that final match where they have to face each other? Is this Damon's plan? Did Damon get to Dean to make him say yes?
That's what I think.
There's so many unmentionables and unknowables that only 3 people know about exactly what happened. Those 3 people are Yaden, Damon Ace, and Presidente Peligro himself. We will have to sit here and watch, but for what we saw tonight, for an actual minute or two, Yaden and Damon Ace worked as a tag team, a decent tag team, for a couple minutes, because I do think that Damon is that violent, we've called him violently intelligent, and the intelligent means something. He is going to make sure he stays there, get himself into that match, that final one-on-one to be a number 1 contender. And if it has to be against the guy that he wants to already destroy, I can work with you for 10 minutes, and then I'm going to absolutely destroy you when you're not looking. And once we get down to the point, that's Damon's game plan from moment 1.
He also got tagged in the forehead by Sergey, but
we were going to get to that. Yeah, I was going to get to that.
And Sergey, did you notice at one point when Yaden was in, Sergey kind of walked off the ramp and he had a nice little conversation with Damon? Maybe he was apologizing for stealing his coat that time. I don't know. But I'll tell you what, I think Damon saw Yaden ask in the beginning. And we saw how Yaden was very calm, just, very much pleading his case to Dean. I also think Damon went to plead his case about being Yaden's partner, but Marky, in Sunday eyes, I think that conversation was a little different. I don't think it was as calm. I think Damon let Dean know exactly who he wanted to be randomly paired with.
Yeah, and Lucas was like, this was random, right? And like Dean adamantly says, this is all random.
Yep.
Yeah. I don't see randomness there. I see Dean fearing for his life there for a little bit, and doing what's best for business.
Hey, you know what? Those little balls that come out with the names on them and they open them. It could have said probably Pope John Paul IV on that piece of paper, and the Dean would have gone, "Oh, Damon Ace partners, cool. All right, good job." Could have said Santa Claus, Damon Ace.
Would you fear for your life if Damon Ace came up to you requesting a certain thing? Huh?
Depending on what that certain thing was.
I don't care. Here you go, buddy. Take it.
It's not.
It's
You
not
just
so
say
bad.
it's not so bad?
You only wheeze for 2 days.
I'm still here. But that's not why we're talking about this.
You can't kill Marky.
Yeah, kill him.
I said that. But
No, but Titus did, and he'll be on next week.
when you look at this team of Ace and Yaden, you know that there's all this other thing behind it. But right now, can they coexist?
They're the favorites.
amongst
In my
all
opinion,
of
when they were announced, they were the favorites.
I completely agree. If they can coexist, they instantly, regardless of what's happened in the ring between like Mackenzie and Cole and okay, Sergey and Tango are not going to win this match. But at the same point, now that Damon Ace and Mercury Aiden are coming out, you have to think that they can work together for a few minutes and then it's all bets are off. And we end up seeing that. Damon and Ace squares off against Dalton McKenzie. And I didn't know I needed that until I saw that. Now I need a lot more of that. Big, powerful, like Haas guy clotheslines, man. We get some tags in and out, and Yaden comes back in, squares off with Curtis Cole. There's some of this old rivalry that hasn't brewed in a while that really needs. There's a
I
lot.
Always like to watch
Yaden
Yaden punch Cole in the face. I
There's
always
a
love
lot.
watching that.
Curtis Cole wusses out though, goes over and tags Panthro. Yaden tags Damon. They're working coherently. They're getting everything going. And Panthro tags Cushman. Ace with the kill shot to Cushman. Cushman's gone at this point in time now. So Cushman and Panthro are out of this match. And you can't doubt Yaden and Ace right now. Damon just comes in and just has his will. I know Cushman's kind of a new guy, but we've seen him perform well. But Damon just comes in and says, no, you guys are out of here right now. And he's looking fearful. He's looking strong. And now, to me, it's really all about how can they get rid of Sergey and Tango, and how are they going to deal with Dalton and Cole? And Dalton ends up getting back in with Sergey at a moment and does the big second story power slam. Bros, Sergey kicked out of that power slam.
Mm-hmm.
That was absolute. He wrestles. That's why. He wrestles.
At Sergey Pro Wrestling Academy, we teach you kick out at 2.
He kicks out. Then came probably one of my favorite moments of the match, and it had to be, of course, it was Sergey and Tango. These guys are comedic gold, but are also really kind of at the beginning of their career. But if they get good together, watch out. Mackenzie whips Sergey to the corner, and we see Sergey kind of go ass over. He does like the Ric Flair post on the corner. Well, Damon takes the opportunity to just pick up Sergey and power bomb dump him on his head.
I thought he was trying to give Damon a Hurricane Rana. That's what I thought was happening.
There were things, man. I don't even know. There were.
Sergey tried to do 5 moves at the same time.
Yeah, none of them stuck.
Didn't work. Well, I tell you what stuck. Tango's foot stuck to the rope, jumping in to try to make the save because he face planted. It broke his nose.
Dude, that's lesson 2. Lesson 1 is mask and boots. 2 is getting in the ring.
We saw Sergey have a lot of trouble with that back in the day. He's gotten way better. Tango's still at the beginning of the adventure, I think we could say. He kind of broke his nose, poor guy, getting into the ring. But then Dalton pins Sergey after Damon just drops him on there because Dalton's right in the ring. And Damon's going to feed Sergey to Dalton. Like, he recognizes the animal that Dalton McKenzie really is. And he respects that. And he just dumps Sergey right there and says, go ahead, take him. And they do. And now, boys, we are down to the final 2 teams in the Peak of the Pack tournament. It is Damon Ace and Mercury Aiden, and it is Curtis Cole and Dalton McKenzie. When you guys saw this, when we got to these final 2, what were your thoughts?
This is awesome.
Yes. Yes.
Arguably, the 2 most dominant teams are the 2 that are left.
Yeah.
I was hoping. I really liked it because I'm like, Curtis Cole's going to get his ass whooped.
Well, I was
This
just
match
thinking
was amazingly entertaining. It had great wrestling. It had power. It had speed. It had story.
It's Sergey.
It had Sergey. It had Tango. We didn't know we needed Tango. We need Tango.
Yes.
One more Tango.
I didn't know I needed Damon Ace and Dalton, but I need that.
Let's do Sunday's input.
Johnny, can our next interview be Sergey and Tango? But
Interesting.
I've been
During-
taking notes. Don't worry.
when I saw these two teams matching up, I was like, who's going to get in the ring with who here? Because obviously there's the history with Yaden and Cole. You got
Peak of the Pack too.
Yeah, right. You've got Damon, a monster that is Damon Ace, and a monster that is Dalton McKenzie. Like, let those two guys tear the building down, and I mean literally, they would probably tear the building down. So it was all about matchups, and I was curious how it was going to go, and it didn't last as long as I thought it might last. Put it that way. Put it that way. But yeah, I mean, I thought it was definitely the two best teams matching up at the end.
I think it went as long as Damon wanted it to go. I think once it got down to these four people, this was Damon's plan all along, and it unfolded the way he wanted it to.
Well, it also helped the fact that Curtis slapped his own partner as well, and which in turn McKenzie just slapped him back, and that allowed Yaden to take advantage of that right away, hit the running knee, and there goes Curtis Cole's team. Then you're down to just Damon Ace and Mercury Yaden, so that definitely contributed to that without a doubt.
Well, yeah, but I mean, Yaden could have told you that Curtis was going to backstab his team.
Yeah.
But then right as that happens, though, right as Cole takes that pin, immediately as Ref Eli counts to 3, Damon Ace comes in and a fast kill shot on Mercury Yaden.
Oh, yeah.
Before the bell is even rung for the final one-on-one confrontation. This is Damon's plan the entire time. This was the plan. Coexist, make it happen. And he did, out of the most unlikely of guys, to coexist and deal with it, the intelligence that Damon Aces possesses. I'm not going to say he pulled the wool over Mercury Yaden's eyes, because he didn't. He attacked him from behind in a moment where Mercury didn't even have a chance to get up from the pinfall yet to even defend himself. Damon attacked him from behind and then takes that immediate advantage. And it didn't work out too good for Mercury Yaden this point in time, because, boys, he hit Yaden in the face with the exact same running knee that Yaden has been using. Statement made. 2, 3, 4 statements made in this match.
It was like poetic justice for Damon in a way.
I'd call it tempting fate, to be honest with you.
Ooh.
You got away with it tonight because his back was turned. Can you get away with that when his face is looking right at you?
Ooh, this is spicy.
It's going to be a lot harder to hit Yaden in the face with a running knee if he's looking right at you.
But then you got what Damon says after the match.
Mm-hmm.
He doesn't want the RMP title shot again. He wants Yaden again.
Doesn't care the stipulation. Doesn't care about it. Wants the NRW title.
Did you hear what he called
of
Drake?
Yaden's place.
Yeah. What?
I
Call him
didn't.
a
Like
what?
knockoff?
It was a
They call it
knockoff.
knockoff.
No.
Yeah, I don't want
knockoff.
that knockoff. Yeah.
I think he said psychopath wrong, but my hearing's bad. So
I wonder if Drake heard that. He had to have. He was in the building. He was in the match right before.
I haven't seen a nuclear explosion report in Colorado yet, so they haven't met yet.
That confrontation is not suitable for minors at all.
No. No.
That would be an R-rated like confrontation. You can't show that to young kids. It'd be scarred. It's nightmare fuel. You can't bring Damon Ace and David Drake to the masses. They're not ready for it. Young children and people around the world. There's not enough psychotropic drugs that can help deal with the aftermath of that.
Yeah.
All right.
But Dean announced it. We didn't say this. Dean made it official. Damon Ace versus Mercury Yaden for the NRW title at Milestone 13.
It is, and that is your first confirmed match for Milestone 13. Don't know if it's going to be the main event, but it is confirmed. I believe a contract just has to be signed by both of these parties, and everything is a go for Milestone.
I'm sure that contract
Be a stipulation, right?
Yeah, I don't think. You know what the stipulation should be? Whoever walks out wins.
That would be a last man standing.
That's last man standing.
But even
We've
at this
seen
point,
those
I don't
before.
even think that's enough. I mean, you're literally, this is almost a fight to the death at this point. They're going to beat each other till they can't move.
We need a hell in a cell.
No, one of them needs to go one-on-one with the Undertaker.
No, they need to have a tag team match.
All right.
Play up.
All right.
They need to beat up John Cena.
So we have one confirmed match in the books for Milestone. Obviously, there's going to be a lot of questions going up into Milestone. You want to tune in on Tuesday for the fallout of Peak of the Pack, because I'm sure all the questions will be at least raised to a whole different level, and maybe you'll get some answers here or there. But from now until Milestone, you don't want to miss a single episode of Charge on Tuesdays. Because, my God, by the way this pay-per-view ended and everything that happened during this pay-per-view, we are in for a historic milestone this year. So, for the first time, actually, at least since we've been covering it, we don't have a number one contender right off the bat for the RMP Championship. So, who knows what's going to happen
We
here?
have a number one contender.
We do, but is it a number one contender for Milestone, or is it for a Charge?
I don't know.
episode
I'm not
at a
going to go
later
anywhere
date?
near Sin Bodhi to ask him. Eyes has that interview. We're going to send him on assignment. I'm not going.
All right.
I'm telling you, if I'm Dak Draper, it looks like Danger Dean can be swayed, as we saw. So
He is there.
He's not wrong.
They are ex-tag team partners.
Yeah, so I'm trying
That
to.
is true.
I'm trying to sway him and give. Hey, I didn't lose. I don't go to the back line. I didn't lose. Give me another shot.
Okay, Preston.
Fair enough. Fair enough.
All right. That's going to conclude our review of Peak of the Pack. Final thoughts on this pay-per-view before we wrap everything up? I know we're against the time here.
Well, I can
I
say
guess-
this: the Peak of the Pack match did not disappoint. This is one of my favorite match types that I've seen a company do outside of like a Royal Rumble type thing of unique style matches, and I love this Peak of the Pack style thing, and it did not disappoint again this year. A lot of stories going on this year, a lot of stuff going in towards Milestone with the Asylum and Lilith, and what's going on with David Drake. Sin Bodhi is a number one contender. Where's he going to turn up? What town's that circus coming into? There's still a lot of questions leading into Milestone, even after this major event of Peak of the Pack.
Yeah, my thoughts go to one person, and it's somebody we haven't had to think about for a while because we always knew where Remy D was. Remy was the champ. Remy had a title. Who was challenging Remy next? Who does Remy challenge now? Does Remy try and talk to Dean about fighting the big bad monster that is David Drake? That's something I'd like to see.
Oh God.
You know,
Sign
he'd
me.
have himself a hell of an argument. 300 days as the champion beforehand.
Mhm.
One match doesn't define a career.
And technically, he lost that match by disqualification. So, a loss is a loss. I get it, but still.
We
A lot
are
of questions.
we're about 44 minutes away from having it be exactly 30 days into Milestone 13.
Gonna be May.
It's gonna be mad.
Oh, God. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we are going to wrap up this show. We didn't plan on any Q&As because we knew it was going to take this long. We will be back at it next week for the Rocky Mountain Rewind, as we typically do on Sundays. I don't remember what episode we were on. We're close to the end of season 1, I believe. So we only got a couple episodes there. But we'll be airing some of those episodes on next Sunday.
With Titus.
With Titus, yes.
Yes.
Titus will be joining us on
Yes.
Sunday to fill in. Who's he filling in for? I forget.
Me and Sunday.
Yeah, you're
Yeah,
on Sunday. Okay. All right.
Titus being a good wingman, a good bro, not leaving me alone with Triple I on that long. I appreciate that. Thank you.
Hey.
You helping a bro out. I love you, bro, but I can't take you for 3 or 4 hours, 2-3 nights in a row, man.
You take me to 3 hours on every Friday night.
I know, and then it's another.
And then
3
he
hours
gets
on
Saturday
Sunday.
for his buffer.
Oh, but I mean, hey.
Love your body.
Oh,
Microdose Triple I. We got to microdose him.
I save my comments. Go. Yep, that's fine.
All right, everybody. As always, folks, make sure you smash that like button and leave a comment below this VOD. Let us know how we did. Give us your opinions. What did you think about Peak of the Pack this past Friday night? And what do you think about the road to Milestone 13? Who are you looking to see at Milestone 13? What are your predictions? Let us know in the comments below. As always, folks, we will be back for Recharge right after Charge on Tuesday, and as well on Thursday for Reignited immediately after Ignition. Other than that, that's the schedule for this week. If you want to make sure that you get a chance to see every episode here live on YouTube, all you got to do is become a member at Tier 2 for $9.99. And that will give you every pay-per-view year-round. And that's the bottom line, because Johnny Deathdrop says so. Oh, and you also get Tier 1 perks as well. So you get both Tier 1 and Tier 2 perks for the price of one. So that's about it for us, ladies and gentlemen. As always, for myself, Johnny Deathdrop, Coast Crusader, Marky Pins, Sunday Night Savior, and Triple I, we will see you guys on Tuesday for another episode of Dudes and Bell to Recharge here on YouTube. As always, folks, stay safe, stay classy, and we will see you on Tuesday. See you later, folks.